Hey guys, okay, I'm super sad. I just filmed the whole 30-minute episode and my phone has no storage. So, like, only 9 minutes of it got caught. I'm gonna go backwards. All the cards are already done. So, bear with me. I'm gonna go backwards and try to remember every single thing that I said and say it again. But round two should be better, right? Because the universe obviously has something to tell you again. All right. Let's let's start how I normally start. I believe I ended from where the last minute stopped was that you guys pulled the Two of Cups. So there's definitely a soulmate twin flame connection here. There's a mutual attraction, which we love for our What's at Hand card, because that means that this connection is still very much so real, that this partnership energy is in the air currently. And some kind of proposal is coming in. I'm not saying like marriage proposal. It's not that big of a commitment yet. It could be if you guys have been together for a minute, but it could be a reunion energy coming back in and just the recognition of love and a need for balance here, right? So somebody's having some kind of an epiphany of this happiness wanting to come back in, because then a second card wanted to get pulled, which was the Three of Cups, which is all about celebration. It's my, you know, happiness community card. It could be a collaboration with friends, but for this, since we're doing a love reading, it's definitely my reconciliation card. So this energy wants to come through strong because this is your What's at Hand. This is like the overall underlying energy of this reading, which is beautiful for my collective. Okay. Those are the two that popped. Those are the two that popped out. But then I pulled the third and final, which was, like, that's what you don't see throughout the whole situation. That's kind of what's hidden, is that this reconciliation wants to come through, that this person has recognized that you are their soulmate, twin flame, meant to be lover. But it's what's not being shown to you right now. What is being shown to you right now is the Three of Swords in reverse. So you both obviously went through a heartache. There was some pain here in this connection. I actually love that this card showed up for us in the reversal, though, because it means that there's forgiveness coming in. That somebody, both of you, both parties, are working on releasing pain and trying to be more optimistic about this whole situation connection, and that there is some form of recovery here. So yeah, they're like moving on past all of the blockages, the past traumas, the past pain that, kind of forced you guys to walk away from this for a little bit and heal. So we're getting rid of all the negative self-talk and the ego stuff, which is really good. So we are stepping into growth and completion and expanding on this new idea of this relationship being a potential for us. Okay. Then I always go like back and forth between tarot and oracle cards. Actually, let me do it how I normally do it, so I can come back. So that's our What's at Hand energy. Bam. Then I'm going to move to the past energy. Our past energy was the Nine of Cups in reversal. So for the past energy, that's okay. So Nine of Cups energy is, especially when it's in the reversal, there's this lack of internal joy or internal happiness. Like, they potentially could have been dissatisfied with some areas of their life. Usually this has to do with overindulgence. So it could have been that they resorted to drinking a bit too much or materialistic stuff. Like, they chose to focus on money. They chose to focus on outside partying to get their mind off of things, because obviously we went through a heartache and it was a lot to handle. But yeah, internal happiness was what was being worked on, right? The necessity for trying to heal this suffering. And through that, you know, however people cope is how people cope. This is also the card that kind of gives me single energy. Notice how this masculine depicted on the card has his arms crossed. He's very like closed off energetically from opening a heart space. And he's just focused on like, yeah, you know, I'm just going to focus on my money. And when it's in the upright position, it's about stability and satisfaction and a wish coming true. So that wish didn't come true as far as love goes. And they had some dissatisfaction since it was in the reversal, right? And a lack of emotional stability. So they were just like, I'd rather focus on the money and get my mind off of things than, you know, try to deal with emotions and love right now. In the present position, we had the High Priestess, also in reversal though. So it tells you that there's a secret still. Somebody's not revealing some part of their feelings, because this is my intuition card. So there's something hidden as far as what they know deep down, that internal knowing of your intuition, they were keeping disconnected and a secret. So yeah, they were disconnected from their intuition, or you were. Possibly, you know, it's an odd feeling when you think, wow, there was such a beautiful, deep connection here. How could somebody not love me or not want to make this work when you know that you felt this? But it's because they decided to disconnect from their intuition and resort to coping however they felt like they needed to cope. And they withdrew, they went silent. So there's definitely a separation here. It could have been a bit of selfish, shallow behavior. They were just like ignorant to the whole situation or partnership. There was a big misunderstanding. And I did say that the letter T could be relevant, B or J as well, and the number 2. So you guys were meant to come back together in union, but yeah, there was just a secret here. I really feel like somebody was hiding their true emotions. It was heavy fire signs and water signs that were coming up. And with the moon, there's an illusion here. They were masking their emotions and not telling you how they really felt. And then in the future placement, I loved that we had the Sun card. So that means that there's a big positive thing that we're looking forward to in the future. There's a big success, a celebration, a rebirth here. And the universe is like, all is going to be okay. All is well. So don't stress it too much. And there's like a really fun energy that comes off of this sun. There's warmth that radiates off of this. There's pleasure. You guys can be like, step into that positivity again. Yeah. A very vital energy. There's a lot of vitality just radiating off of this card for a future placement. So there's a new beginning here, because this is the number 19 card, which boils down to a 1 in numerology. So there, we are going to step into a success. So I'm thinking that that reconciliation is coming in. Let's go back. This is funny, I'm doing it backwards. Okay. So for our what's at hand, they're longing you. They're craving you. You see how this woman is like reaching up for the light, which we just had the sun energy, right? She's trying to touch that warmth again. They're aching for you. They want you. Look at her. She's like, I want to get back to this energetic, magnetic, hot, passionate situation. Okay? That's what they're thinking. Even through the heartache energy, that's what they were feeling. But in the past, why they couldn't step into that was because of their pride. Leo energy coming through again. There was some arrogance, they acted through ego, and they were being stubborn. And again, for twin flame readings, anything could be reversed, but you guys are mirrors of each other. So both people were acting through ego and being stubborn. For our present position, they're working on trust again. They're working on becoming more of a reliable person and believing in this connection. They have to like step back into that loyalty, into that belief of this being able to be a thing, being able to come into union again. How beautiful this black lab is. White flowers may be relevant, but yeah, dog energy. Like this was, they have the potential to be a truly loyal, beautifully trusting partner. It's just obviously something had happened where maybe you guys had lost that trust for a moment. So that's what they're working on currently. And in the future placement, unfortunately, so I always say future placement is like next few days, next few weeks, potentially a month or two. I don't see it longer than that because, you know, every few months we kind of refresh energy. But they're still trying to escape. They're still trying to escape from this. They're avoiding. They're blocking this energy. You guys could have blocked each other. Remember, we're in separation. So they definitely push you away. Look at, they're on the beach. They're walking away past you because they're avoiding the emotional turmoil. So as much as they want this beautiful, successful rebirth and celebration of coming back together with the sun and this new beginning, they're still trying to avoid it. Okay. As much as they're longing you, they're trying to avoid it still. And why? Why is because there's financial and career issues involved with this. So financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. They obviously, like I said earlier, they had to focus on something else to get their mind off of you. That could have been overindulging. It could have been just like pushing themselves deeper into work and focusing on building the stability financially and not thinking about love. And it's also because they needed to pay attention to some red flags that were in the past. So, yeah, the signs were cautioning them and cautioning you that obviously not every aspect of the relationship was totally healthy, that there was potentially some codependency or addictions at play, and they were really recognizing that they needed to pay attention to those red flags. And because they had that pride and stubborn ego, that definitely made them want to escape rather than, you know, step into this. But the chemistry is undeniable. You see this? Really quick, I want to bring it back to our longing card. Look at both energies. She's touching this light bulb, and then she's also playing with this magical orb. Both feminines are, and here the feminine energy and the masculine energy are being drawn, magnetically pulled in because of this chemistry. You guys are both longing for each other. You're both craving this. So yeah, that's why it's like, even through all of the red flags that you guys had to pay attention to, that's why universe pulled you guys apart, because they're like, nope, there's unhealthy aspects to this. We need to work on it. That's not what was meant to happen. My OCD, I'm like, girl, be perfect. Yeah, same thing in relationships, you know? You gotta, nothing's gonna be perfect. You just have to accept it. But there's a lot of chemistry here. There's so much chemistry here. In the future placement, I'm happy, even though they feel like they still want to be the runner and escape from this. There's a lot of playful energy coming through too. They recognize that they want this. Maybe you guys could be going to like a playground set and be on a swing together, or you've been there on the past, but this isn't our future placement on a soul level too. So even if your souls energetically just want to be here together being playful with one another, they want to recapture romance and allow this inner youthful spirit to have fun and shine. This is what the universe wants for you guys. This is what you guys on the fifth dimensional level want to experience again with each other. Then over the finances and career being an issue, and this for the whole, the energy overlying this whole reading, we have the Six of Swords. So, yeah, because they recognized that there were some instabilities here, some financial and career decisions that they had to make that were possibly more important than dealing with love in the current moment. They walked away. They felt like they had to leave this behind and move forward. And that they knew that there was going to be some distance ahead because they had other priorities. It was time of solitude. Look, this person is again on a beach, looking ahead of them, realizing that they had to take this journey solo dolo, unfortunately. And after paying attention to all of these red flags and deciding to go with ego instead of following their heart, they were doing it because they were in self-defense mode with these Seven of Wands. They were protecting themselves. They were protecting you. Yeah, they were like, nope, I have to stand my ground. I have to like stick to this decision of I have to move forward. I need to focus on my stability and my foundation and a career path and not deal with love right now. Even though that heart was like so, like I just get that an elephant's heart is so kind and pure, but they're also such strong, soft creatures that they were like, nope, I'm going into self-protection mode. Even if it's not what I want to do, I know it's what I have to do. And they thought that it was going to protect both of you guys, which in a sense it does, from more pain and heartache, because they knew that they had to grow in solidarity rather than thinking that they could do it together. Over the chemistry card in the present position, then we pulled the Eight of Cups. So that told me that yes, they're still currently in this walking away energy. They're trying to let this go, even though they're still thinking about you. They're still craving you. They feel like they had to leave this behind and go on this journey alone. So it's still the energy. That's what their choice was in the past, and that's still what they're deciding right now. Two cards at this point pulled out because I was like, but there's so much chemistry here. I just want more clarifiers on like why they are so stuck on this decision. And it's the Eight of Pentacles, commitment, dedication, and work and effort. They realized that they had to make a decision. They had to commit to something. And if they weren't able to commit to the relationship right now, they had to work, or they had to commit themselves to work. They had to commit themselves to some kind of effort of growing themselves and growing this financial stability. And it's not, anytime we see pentacles, it's not just financial stability. It's stability in their whole lives. Like they're finding who they are, what they want to do, and really solidifying themselves in the world. So, yeah. And see this coin here, so it does have a lot to do with money, and their career path. I love, though, that over the playfulness card in the future placement, we have a new opportunity coming in because we have the Ace of Pentacles in the upright. which means that there's abundance here. There's prosperity that's been growing. And they're working on that security and stability. So it's a good thing that they had stepped away to work on this, because in the future they're going to have this security, this successful stability to offer you. We love that. Back to our what's at hand. So overall situation and energy is they're healing their heart. Yeah, they're healing from this heartbreak still. And there was a lot of toxicity and addictions that they had to cope with and recognize and have these epiphanies with, and start to move past them and heal that. And potentially you guys had been in previously abusive relationships, or even like family dynamics, if not past romantic dynamics, that they were healing from all of these past traumas, which is really important to do if you're going to step into a future of a relationship that's committed with, you know, a pure heart that's not dealing with any of those. Of course, not to say that you're never going to deal with past traumas, but you've handled the triggers. You have healed enough to where you can step in and be pure of heart, right? Be a lot more healed than you used to be. So that's what both of you guys, you know, the universe forced you guys to do, whether you wanted to or not. And then to clarify that, because in the past I had pulled the addiction card right after that, so I was like, "Yup, they feel chained. They felt chained down. They felt like there's a lot of codependency in this. There was an obsession. Like maybe you guys were like a little too strongly sexually obsessed and restrained to this connection. There could have been some possession or control issues there, and there was a huge emotional blockage. Like they realized that there were red flags and that they had to handle these addictions, and it was probably not best to. They didn't think it was possible to do it together, because obviously they were obsessed with you, a little hot and heavy, and they felt chained down. So yeah, they decided that they had to step away because they needed to heal that. That's why they were in that self-protection mode and standing on their ground of the decision of that they needed to break this off. And then in the in the current placement, there's still some seductive energy. Like they want it, they're still thinking about you in a hot and heavy way, okay? There's still a lot of attraction there. It's like they're thinking about hooking up with you still. They're thinking about going on dates with you still. They're tempted. Unfortunately, there was like some kind of third party energy that didn't want this. They didn't want that. Like they read into it. Could have been another lover, could have been a family mate or a friend who was like, nah, mate, nope, this is not healthy energy. They didn't want them doing, you know, the hot and heavy with you, because it was gonna distract them from them or from their work or whatever it may be. So they had gotten pulled out of this seductive energy in the physical, but very much so in the mental and the soul level. They still have this attraction for you. There's still this temptation here. Okay, is all I'm saying. And then I pulled the soulmates on the beach again, and now they're together, feeling this emotional, the waves, the currents. You're not just a drop in the ocean. You guys are the ocean coming together again. You're the whole ocean. You're the whole beautiful, emotional soul connection. There's a partnership here that's meant to come in. There's a soul contract. You guys have been past life lovers. This is like, there's no doubt in my mind. This is legit. You guys are soulmates. You are twin flames, for sure. I've had two soulmate and twin flame cards with the Two of Cups, and now the literal soulmate card. So I loved that previously we had 2 cards where the people were on the beach walking away, first one, and then second was they had to go on this journey alone by themselves, and then we finally come back together again. Okay, and then the last pull for the overall what's at hand energy, we had the Queen of Wands. So a message from the Queen of Wands. They're finally stepping into their purpose, into their passion. Like that's what they had to focus on. I feel more optimistic about life and ready to get out of my shell, to share my joy and my ideas with you and the rest of the world. That's their message to you. In the past energy, they had the Tower moment. Of course, 16 rolls down to a 7. It felt like an unlucky number, you know? It wasn't 777, it was just 7. They had to have this breakdown, this dark night of the soul, to really step into healing themselves and getting, past those addictions and codependency issues and letting go of egotistical old mindsets and old patterns. So their message was, I keep delaying leaving my comfort zone of bad habits, but now all has fallen apart and I'm forced to face my pain in a rough way. That's that dark night of the soul, baby. This is what twin flame journeys are all about. In the present position, then we have the Knight of Swords. So they're coming through. They want to come through strongly because they're gaining this mental clarity. They say, I have decided that I want to pursue you and nothing is going to stop me. Expect soon a lot of action from my part. I told you that a reconciliation is coming in. And then last but not least, over the soulmate energy in the future placement, we have the Page of Swords. So a message is coming through. They're coming in to let you know something because this mental clarity, this epiphany has hit them. It says, I'm becoming more curious about you and who you really are, but also I feel inspired to learn new skills and to read more books. So they've been growing, they've been learning, which is exactly what we've needed them to do. And again, everything roles can be reversed, and this is a mirrored reading because it's twin flames. So you have been focusing on learning more skills. You have been focusing on yourself, working on inspiring yourself to move forward, to grow, and becoming more curious about this connection and them. And you've never stopped thinking about them and craving them because you knew, both of you knew, that this was soulmate energy. This was twin flame energy. You have a soul contract here, whether you believe in that stuff or not, it's there, and that's why this magnetic pull has drawn you guys together. So stop denying this longing. You guys, focus on healing the hearts, getting past those addictions and letting go of the past heartaches, because you guys want each other. You guys are craving this warmth and this connection, this spark again. Yeah, I mean, come on. This is really beautiful here. There's a lot of chemistry. They want to be loyal. They want to trust you again. They want to step into this sun energy with you, into the we're stepping into the fire horse energy. So I hope this resonated, you guys. My name is Kat. This is my channel, Pure Premonitions, where we make more magic. Pray for me, for us, for the collective, that this video goes through, because last one did it, and I really hope so. I don't have to do this a third time because your girl's tired. I want to go to bed again. Okay, I love you guys. Bye.